Dr. Mike here, and welcome back to the channel where we focus on self-mastery and wealth creation. And let me ask you a question. Have you ever gotten motivated, started strong, and then stopped? Have you ever made progress, then lost momentum, or said, "This is my season," but ended up right back where you started? Well, I'm here to tell you that that's not random. That's a cycle. And today, I'm going to show you why you keep starting over and how to finally break it for good. Once again, if you're getting something from the channel, do me a favor and hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel and leave a comment down below and help us get this to 1,000 views. All right, so here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have a motivation problem. Many times you have a cycle problem because people live in three phases. They live in the first phase of inspiration, the second phase of action, and the third phase of inconsistency. And then they repeat it over and over and over again. I remember my mentor, he taught us one of the things we had to learn when I was going through a program was this thing called terror barrier. Bob teach that all the time. And it wasn't until I really learned these three stages that I realized that, you know what? That is a serious piece. So what do we have to do about that? Well, it almost boils down to this. You got to starve the deception in your life, okay? So when you first start something, think about it. You're excited, you're inspired, you're even energized about that thing. But here's the truth. Excitement does not equal or equate to commitment because most people start based on emotion, not decision. So when your emotion fades, so does the action. Now, you didn't fall off necessarily, but you were never really anchored. You see? So when you talk about not being anchored, that lets me know that, number two, you may not have a system. And so here's something I want you to write down. And if you don't take anything else that you hear from me say today, I want you to write this down. Winners don't rely on feelings, they rely on systems. Successful people don't rely on feelings. They rely on systems. They systematically plan out their day and start their morning. That's why I have for you all those morning routines that I use that help me get on the way. My wife, we use them. She uses them, and we're so productive because we use that morning routine. Okay, so if you really want success, it's going to depend. If your success depends on, watch this, how you feel, or when you feel like it, or when it's convenient. Hear me, good people. You will always start and stop. So let me give you an example of this. If you don't have a daily routine, if you don't have a clear, thought out plan, a structure for execution, 9 times out of 10, you're not building for success. You're really just visiting it. You know what I mean? So, what do you want to do? Here's what I want you to understand before I give you this, because most people miss this. If even if you change, your environment can pull you back. So sometimes we got to reset the environment or go get into a new environment. Because here's one thing that I found, and you all may understand this as well. Same people equals same conversations. Same conversations equals same habits. Same habits can turn into same old distractions. Your environment is stronger than your intention. And I need you to understand that. I like to use it as an example like this. If you have a plant or something that can grow 6 feet, but you keep it in a small flower pot, it won't grow and maximize its potential. Okay. So every time you try to level up, your environment can keep you stagnant. So your environment has to reset with you, okay? Now, I know you're saying, how do we break these cycles, Doc? How do we break these cycles? Well, I'm gonna give it to you in three, y'all. First way you break these cycles is like this. You make a decision with the declaration. In other words, you want to stop saying, I'm going to try, and start saying, this is who I am now. I made a decision that I'm not going to try, and I also made a declaration. Okay. So when you understand that a decision cuts off the plan B, okay, you decide, so you got to cut everything else away. Decision cuts off the other options. Number two, you build a non-negotiable system, which means you create a daily structure or allow somebody like myself, a coach, to help you. You wake up on time, right? When that alarm clock go off, put your feet on the ground. You work the blocks, you learn the time, you execute the time. You see what I'm saying? You put this stuff into place. Till this day, I still use a things to do list. Till this day, I still use a calendar. Now, even though I'm using my overhead right now, I still have another calendar where I pencil in my things because as a coach, if I don't have any appointments, if I'm not talking to nobody, I don't have a book of business, guys. Okay. So watch this. When you understand that, the systems then create the consistency. Ooh-wee. A lot of times you might not feel like doing it, but because the system dictate, you get up and you begin to develop positive reinforcing habits. That's called the part of that. That's the part of that system. And now watch this. Y'all used to hear me say all the time, consistency is the key. When I was teaching people about Forex and options, I tell them to show up to the markets and be consistent. You show up at the same time and you work your strategy. Don't deviate. A lot of people lose money that way. Don't do that. So consistency, write this down. Consistency creates results. And the results tell us where you are. Okay. So the number three, you all, the last thing is I said you about upgrading that environment. You need new conversations. You need some new influences in your life. You need to create and be around new standards because if nothing changes around you, nothing will change in you. All right. So now I want you to think about it like this. Here's your power moment. You're not starting over. Get that out your mind. I mean, maybe people think I'm too old to start over. I don't have enough ABCs or I got to go back to school. No, no, no. You don't have to do that. All you're doing is repeating what you never committed to. Think about that for a moment. If I never committed to it, then I really never did it. So it's not really like I'm starting over, am I? You see? So, good people, if you're tired of starting over, if you're really ready to finally build something that lasts, I want to invite you to go deep with me. How do we do that? I've created a training where I'll show you how to build these structures. I'll show you how to develop the discipline and create a real consistent level of results and changes. It doesn't matter if it's an income or, self-mastery. If you want to create more wealth for yourself, or if you want to do what we do, you want to become a coach. We got a certification program. All right. So what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to leave two things down below. I'm going to leave one of my free programs for you all. I think it's called the hidden value, so you can talk about your self identity. And then I'm gonna leave also a I think it's a mini book for you guys about the daily routine. Maybe a little 6-page PDF or something like that about your daily routine. Okay, and that's going to help you move the needle. So once again, guys, I appreciate you all spending time with me. This is Dr. Mike, and remember, consistency isn't something you try. Consistency is someone you become. And so don't forget to leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the content. And we'll see you next time.